And the magnificent Kirsty has joined us. Good morning, glamorous Kirsty from her lifestyle location. Can I manage without you? I just don't think I can, Kirsty. Good morning.
I don't think I can manage without you guys either.
Very precious. And Vic, is everybody getting quite emotional? Vic is in and Vic is joining us. Oh, if Paul's going to come in, it's the middle of the night, Paul's going to lose his mind, Vic. Vic, welcome. Welcome to you. You're the reason we're here. We're so thrilled to see you, mate. I can't tell you.
Thank you so much. It's just so great to see everybody and to be here live.
So, by the way, everyone, that's the famous Vic. That's the Vic that we talk to every week, that's been with us every week doing this asynchronously. So, Vic, this is just a joy. We'll introduce you to Bree. It's Bree's first week, so we're thrilled to have Bree in Right Club. Ruth is back with us. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning.
Lovely to see you, looking fresh and glamorous as always.
Oh, stop.
Oh, stop. And how are you? I'm making sure I'm pronouncing. So, Yong, how are you? Are you well?
I'm fine, thank you.
It is lovely to see you. Legendary. Lorraine's back with us. And hang on, watch for this reaction. Paul, Vic's in live.
How amazing. Hello, Vic.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody.
It's like,
Hey, Paul.
it's like the band's back together, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Oh, Vic, I'm thrilled to see you. So Bree's in. Wonderful Shell is in. The legendary Sue has joined us to keep writing and changing the world. Damien, it's not a competition, Damien. It's not a competition, Damien. We are thrilled to see you. Mind you, have you seen Paul's amazing piece that came out this week? Oh, Paul, Paul, if you can post it in the chat, mate, it's a ripper. It's a beautiful piece. Oh, fantastic. And Dina is in. How are you, gorgeous?
Good.
Fantastic. So you're ready to go? Yes, I hope so. Yes, Dina, yes, I hope. And Susan, I'm hoping it's our Susan that's joined us. We haven't got a picture, Susan, but and can it be possible, Susan, you're even more beautiful than you are normally? Good morning, good evening from New York City, Susan.
Good morning, Tara. Good morning and good evening, whatever, everybody.
Everybody, we are so thrilled to see you. And colleagues, as you can see, I'm in the waterfront campus of CDU, so they've let me out for a week. And colleagues, we'll have our 30 minutes. We might only have about and I apologise for this, about a 15-minute chat at the end because I'm off to do an oral examination on an artefact exegesis thesis at the Victoria Visual Arts Gallery around the corner, starting at about 11:05. So I'm very excited, but at least I've got a chance to see you all. So let's enjoy it. Let's write hard. And by the way, for our newies, what's the first rule of Right Club?
Right.
Right.
Right. What's the first rule of Right Club? Right. Okay, colleagues, I'll see you on the other side. Let's do some damage. Let's try and make sure we're nice and competitive with Damien. Come on. Let's do it. See you on the other side. Okay. Go, Damien. Last minute, colleagues. And colleagues, we are concluded. Wow. Paul, you have to shake yourself out of that one. Gee, that was hard, Jacka. So Paul, where did you go for that 29 minutes, mate?
On a request from a couple of fellow colleagues, I'm looking at theatre-specific semiotics, how semiotics work within the theatre, and personally, I'm looking at an area that Cress came out with, which is functional specialism, and how that means that we can interpret the audience reaction to work, knowing social and cultural backgrounds, and how the signs that are given within performance can be interpreted by that audience. So I'm looking at theatre, semiotics, and then the opposed version, which is phenomenology, and how they work against each other.
Oh, Paul, that is unbelievable. The work you are doing, Paul, is unbelievable. I'm not seeing anything like the work you're doing, like anywhere, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a new one on me, but someone suggested I look at semiotics in a theatrical point of view. So I'm kind of going down the rabbit hole of how Brecht was very much within the semiotic view and looking at things as signs and the signification of theatre. But then the phenomenology, which is the more naturalistic view of theatre, and how they're opposed and one against the other.
That is absolutely brilliant. And can I say, Paul, I wouldn't have done half of what I've done this year without you and I re-energizing Gunther Kress. Who knew that was a thing, mate? Unbelievable. You're a legend, Paul, absolute legend. And should we go to our dear friend Kirsty from her lifestyle location? Kirsty, inspire us once more. Where are we this week? Every week you do something different. Where were you, Kirsty?
Well, I decided today for me was going to be about planning the next 3 months because it was my birthday yesterday, and also and thank you. And also apparently, it's a new moon. I read somewhere on social media this morning, so I thought, what a great time to plan my next 3 months. So and a new moon in Virgo, and of course I'm Virgo, so I thought, look, I'll take any chances, right? Any energy that's coming my way, I'm there. So, so I plan my next 3 months out, and it's equally exciting and terrifying. So but I'm on it.
And you look great. Firstly, happy birthday. You are the light of our lives. That's magnificent. And you've summoned all that energy. But the thing is, once you've actually got the plan of the 3 months, it's doable, my darling.
Yeah. Thank you.
We do it together. And shall we all continue to be inspired by the legend that is Damien? Good morning, Damien. What magic were you summoning today, good sir?
I'm working on a chapter for my thesis about writers' rooms and balancing craft and perspective when developing queer stories in Australian television writers' rooms. And specifically, I'm looking at examples where my interviewees discussed managing the balance between the corrective expectations of society around queer representation and what's dramatically necessary. So I've been exploring a lot of bury your gaze tropes and why they happen, like the kind of dramatic necessity of that happening in a particular TV show.
Right. So you saw Paul's face. You've seen my face. That is unbelievable, Damien. That is every week you shock that at me, and the back of my skull comes off and it goes against the window. That is unbelievable. And is it coming easily for you? That's powerful, mate.
It is. Most of the people I interviewed were writers, so that this chapter is probably the easiest one to write because they were mostly coming from that perspective. But television's very queer, and it's like everyone does every job. Everyone's a writer and a producer and a director and a executive producer and a development commissioner, and they all do everything. So, but a lot of them wanted to talk about this stuff and the challenges they face because they a lot of them were also queer and talked about, I know what I have to do, I know what my community expects of me, but I also am very connected to an idea of dramatic truth, and that not always aligning with societal expectations about where we're going right now, and this kind of need to reach saturation so that we can get to a place where we can do the most dramatically truthful story rather than the thing that needs to be everything to everyone all at once.
Boom. Thank you for that, Damien. I feel like I've had like sorbet moved around my brain this morning. That is phenomenal. Damien, thank you for everything you do, mate. You're transformative. Should we go to the glamour that is Queen Ruth? Good morning, Ruth. Share with us what you were writing on, my darling.
I was working on the same thing I was working on last week, which is my confirmation of candidature proposal. So I've mostly written the script, and now I'm trying to put that into an engaging presentation. So that's what I was working on. So not technically writing, but
That's writing. How did it go? How is it coming?
yeah, I think it's starting to take shape.
We might get an invitation to the event too. We'll see if we're
Oh,
lucky. I have
no,
this.
you make me far too nervous.
If there's a recording, send me the recording after. You're
Okay.
very precious, Ruth. You're legendary. And look, without getting emotional, and Paul and I'll start weeping controllably shortly. Vic, my brother, what were you writing on this week?
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be here, and Tara, just everybody. It's such a joy to be here live and in person. Well, kind of in person, but and Tara, just my heart goes out to you in such gratitude for all the work that you're doing for everybody in the world. So thank you. Anyway, there's I'm a career counselor at the University of Minnesota School of Public Health, and there's a National Career Development Association conference every year, and a couple of my colleagues approached me to put in a proposal for the conference for next year, and we're doing it. The title of it is Anti-Racism from Self-Awareness to Commitment. And as career counselors, we're thinking about self-awareness, to make change is be comfortable or self-aware, and where do you stand as far as racism. And then in this session, we want to create a commitment and write it down. And we've done this program 2 years ago, and all three of us had written a commitment too. Well, things have changed, and so we're going to revisit our own commitments as we're, share our learning over the last couple of years.
Oh, Vic. And can I say, what an amazing 3 years it's been. What a time to revisit those commitments. And can I say, we've got a lot of colleagues in Australia, as you know, Vic, and we're moving through quite a challenging time in discussions about race and colonisation and understanding the history of Australia. And what you've just said there is, I'm going to be thinking about that for some time. I think that's self-awareness is one thing, but I think commitment is something else. Vic, thank you for that.
And one more note here too, we have a lot of affirmative action shenanigans going here in the States too. So it's, I'm going to hope to, we can make some more systemic change as well.
That is remarkable. And speaking of systemic changes, the woman that has certainly changed all of our lives, Susan, what remarkable work, archival work and interpretive work were you doing this week, my love?
Because I've been doing so much archival and genealogical and historical work, what I decided to do this for the past week was take some small things that I have found that can be written up very quickly, but that have high impact. I haven't decided if they're going to be academic or journalistic. I could do either or, whatever. But I had written, was it 1,200 words of this article? And what I did today was some wordsmithing, taking out this word, putting in that word, saying, no, this is a better way to say this. And putting it in, and it's in my voice now.
Beautiful.
So I have to make a decision, because it's in my voice and I have a very distinctive voice, I have to make a decision about whether I want to keep it that way or make it more academic.
Well, Susan, what would have the most power and impact? Who is the audience for the work? Who do you want to influence on this occasion?
I haven't decided. That's why it's hard. It's a hard decision. That's why it's hard. But what I decided to do was just write it in my voice now and then make the decision later with the knowledge that based on whatever, no matter what decision I make about who the audience is, I'll have to rewrite it.
That's a good point. That is a good point. And Susan, when you said you had objects, were they bits of writing on your hard drive, or were they objects that you're rendering resonant through words?
They're bits of writing that I had, as well as articles that I found in doing research on specific individuals. This particular article is about a woman. You know, I did some research for my half sister about her grandfather. The very first thing I found after, you know, finding out when he was born and, you know, all this other, was that he had shot and killed somebody back in 1918. And the article wouldn't say who it was.
This is phenomenal.
I figured it out, but the article, you know, all the articles in that era, in that day, they listed everybody around, even the people who owned the land, you know, all kinds of nonsense, except who they shot. So.
Look, I don't know about everybody else. I'm excited already. So I already am stalking Susan a bit. So I can't wait to get the end of that. Susan, that's legendary. And let's, if you can keep us in the conversation about how you decide who the audience is, that will help us all, I think, Susan. That's phenomenal. Oh, thank you so much. Can I go to Queen Carol? I haven't talked to Carol in ages. Carol, my darling, what were you writing on? Gorgeous one.
I'm actually having a change in direction. I've finally submitted my ethics. So I'm super excited. Thank you. And the reason I'm so super excited isn't the ethics process. That was, anyway, I'll leave that to another discussion. It was the relationships that I've now created and deepened with the organizations that I'm working with. So it's not the ethics application. That was kind of like its own little writing challenge. It was much more around how to, like, the work that I did on the partnership agreement that we met with on a few occasions, and then we went out, and then I found out that they've sent that round to their organization. And then yesterday I was meeting with someone else, and I found that had gone out to a discussion between two different organizations. And that part was rewarding, because now I know it's absolutely based and it's been owned. So that was exciting.
Well, unbelievable, Carol. Can I say, in terms of Vic's argument, that's self-awareness to commitment, isn't it? That is a deep, iterative reflection process, isn't it?
Yeah. And so now I'm trying to look at the National Housing, just bring it right back down. The National Housing and Homelessness Plan, and the sense of it's being spoken about as it's reimagining, or what should it be like, could it be like? And I'm trying to grapple with public politics and welfare versus neoliberalism, and housing as social infrastructure. And I don't think the plan actually names that. It kind of still talks, it's a whole blob of ideas, or the discussion paper. And so I'm really trying to get to grips with, what does this really mean? And if we're trying to influence it, what should it mean? Or what could it mean? And I don't think the Department of Social Security or Social Services, have kind of got there yet.
Carol, you are magnificent. As I always say, what research is about is answer one question: what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
And my goodness me, you're solving a problem. I have a couple more people, if I can. My apologies, I haven't got back to everybody. I'm about to head off to an examination, as you know. Can I talk quickly with our new wonderful right clubber, the legendary Bree? Bree, what were you writing on, my darling?
Hi, lovely to meet you, Carol. That sounds like a fascinating topic, and I would love to know more about that. And so I did a lot of what Ruth was doing, because I've been writing all week. So I think I started a task, thinking my PhD notes, and I'm writing down some things that I need to do next week, and thinking about my I like to call it a concept now. Initially it's an idea. Idea is not a scientific word apparently. So I'm going to call it concept. I'm going to back it with some science. So that's what I was writing about.
And that conceptual work operates beautifully in a little 30-minute gig like this. So if you decide this is your trope time, let's do that, Bree. And you're so very welcome, as is the wonderful Yong. I better finish with the legendary, the finisher herself, the person we are obsessed with, Bree, just so you know, this is an obsessive narrative. This is the bold and the beautiful version. This is the CDU bold and the beautiful version that is Dina time. Dina, tell us what you were working on, gorgeous.
So I received a feedback on my introduction, so it's good. So I'm doing some refinement on that, and I'm doing refining my result chapter. So it should be good to be sent tomorrow to my supervisor. And Tara, could I tell you a story? You know that I'm I'm visiting my mother-in-law, and so we arrange her health care process here, and at the time and the same time I'm visiting a disaster resilient village that is also in the same area that I wanted to visit. And this specific village, it consists of 60% women and 40% men. So these women, they're very traditional, religious. Their education is high school to middle school, at that range. And these women, they won a competition in Jamboree, building a family tent that could like take up 8 to 10 families in 10 minutes. So these women, they beat the men on this, like building those big heavy tents in the Jamboree of the disaster resilient village. And when I talked to them, one lady in a hijab, she casually said, yeah, we do all kind of rescuing people from the high winds, rescuing people from the eruption, the mountainous eruption. And she casually said, we even rescue people who died up in the tree. And I was like, who would die up in the tree? So there was this guy, he was harvesting fruit up in the tree, and he had a heart attack. So they called us to rescue him. So I was like, you do all kind of stuff, and it's like very inspiring.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, like their stories are very, very, they say it casually because they're, you know, like villagers and traditional women. But it's like the depth of what they do to their community is just astonishing. So yeah, inspiration all the way.
It is. And can I say, Dina, that is the inspiration you give us every week. You wonderful, astonishing person who thinks you're doing these very small little community projects. But darling one, you are changing the world, and you are moving us from, as the wonderful Vic said, from that self-awareness, understanding who we are, our relationship with others, to a wider commitment to and for the world. And Dina, that is the gift that you give us. So colleagues, I apologize. I'm a bit early this week. I've got to sort of run around the corner to the DVA, but I thank you all so very much for your time. You are all wonderful. And Vic, you are a blessing. Wonderful. Yong and Bree, welcome, welcome, welcome. Many blessings to you, and see you next week. Have a lovely time. I'll go walk around the corner. See you soon. Bye-bye, colleagues. Bye-bye. Fantastic. Bless you all.